Welcome back to Whiskey, Sticks, and Politics, the show where the pours are heavy and the cigars are slow. And the guests, they're usually smarter than the hosts. Now today, we got a Bull City original here in the hot seat tonight. But don't let that hometown charm fool you. She went from UNCG to Charlotte School of Law, where she traded in her business textbooks for a passion in litigation.
That's right.
And she's been laying down the law ever since. She's currently a special deputy attorney general for the state of North Carolina. And get this, she actually prosecutes tax violations.
Yep.
So if you've been creative with your W-2s here lately, you might want to stay out of the comment. You've handled everything from felony domestic violence to tax law, and you actually represent the ABC Commission. Now, when she isn't mentoring law students or leading the way with Alpha Kappa Alpha, she's navigating the toughest trial of all, and that's raising an 18-month son, Keithan.
Yep.
And she has a husband, wonderful gentleman I met named Darren. Now, she's running for an open Superior Court seat to bring fairness, dignity, and a whole lot of Durham heart to the bench. Now, please welcome to the mic, Ameshia Cooper Chester.
Thank you for having me.
No, we really appreciate you coming out here tonight and talking to us. The whole thing about Whiskey, Sticks, and Politics, I wanted people to kind of be more involved and know about people that's representing them on a local level. Okay?
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about it, you being from Durham, North Carolina, talk to me about being from here, why that's important.
Well, Durham is such a unique place. You know, we have culture, we have science, we have the arts. And I can't tell you what it means to have been brought up here. My parents met at NCCU.
Oh, wow. Eagle Pride?
Yeah, so they met on campus and it was history. And so that we've settled here, and to know this community is to love it. And to serve it is just the greatest honor. So it means the world to me to be here in this position, running to help my people, my community that has poured into me and given me so much.
Absolutely. And the seat that you're running for is the district seat 16B seat 2. And this seat is open due to a retirement.
Yes.
And that normally doesn't happen, right? That doesn't come across often.
Right.
So talk to me about how rare that is and how the space that you're in is exciting.
Yeah. Judge Michael Ofalu is retiring, and he is just a phenomenal jurist. Very fair, thoughtful. He's dealt with some very tough cases. And so Durham needs that strength. Absolutely. On the bench, for sure. And that's part of the reason why I've put myself out here in this race. And yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer when I looked at the options and made the decision, is now the right time for me to run? It was, this feels right. Of course, we prayed about it, talked to some folks.
Absolutely.
That we trust. But yeah, that's how we came to this decision, and I'm very happy about it.
Oh, we're happy to have you here too. Now, you've been in Durham schools and active in the church community here as well. Tell me how being from Durham maybe will alter your opinion or your approach to the bench versus someone that may have moved here for a career.
Yeah. You know, when I was in the DA's office, oftentimes, you know, I'll be in district court, and I'll be handling speeding tickets, or maybe somebody had a spat with their domestic partner. And I would see my classmates. I would see my teachers. I would see my parents' good friends. I would see, you know, church members. And so there's a level of accountability that comes with that.
Right.
Because, you know, they're going to go to see mama and say, I saw Ameisha in court.
Oh, no.
And it's always a good report, you know, because these are the people that I care about, and these are the people who I respect and who I want to honor. And so that really colors my service, my understanding and appreciation for people as people, understanding all the challenges that they go through. Sometimes it takes an act of God, truly, for them to show up in the courtroom and appreciating that, you know? So yeah, being from Durham, I think really, really colors the way that I see my community, the way I love my community, and I show up for my community. That's
very different, right? You're serving, you're in service, you're in your role, and your neighbor comes in. That's got to hit different, right?
It does.
That's got to hit different.
It does. It's a reminder that everybody has a story.
Right.
And everybody has a life that they live. And nobody is better than anyone else. And I certainly am not better than anyone else.
Absolutely. Now, a moment ago, you briefly spoke on domestic violence situations and things come up like that, right? And you've had experience at the DA's office. So your time there, you've handled everything from, say, kidnapping to embezzlement, right? Now, how does having boots on the ground experience in the Durham's DA office help prepare you for this role?
Well, I understand the inner workings of the courthouse.
It's important.
I know the key stakeholders. It could be something as simple as needing a court file. I know who to go to get it from. It could be as big as understanding how did this case come to be in front of me, and it's understanding the other systems and how they interact, how they overlap. And so that's very helpful. And then also, getting to see firsthand how the court system impacts real people, not just the people that are in the courtroom, if you will, but their families, their loved ones, and then generations to come. It's a heavy thing.
I can understand that. I can. I just couldn't imagine like being in this situation and like seeing that person up there being like an actual member of my community, but like just thinking through that just makes sense.
It does.
It makes sense to be able to like, see some sort of representation. And then like in my mind, I know that, all right, hey, it may not be as bad. Somebody that looks like me is deciding over my fate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I started my career in the Orange County DA's office. Okay. And it's a very rural town. I'd like to say it's Mayberry.
Okay.
And so when I started, this was back in like 2012. Okay. 2013, 2014, I did internships, and then I came on as like a full-fledged attorney. And you could see when members of the community would walk into the courtroom and they would see that it was me that was the prosecutor, you could see their shoulders relax and you could see them feel comfortable approaching me and asking me, hey, do you know where I'm supposed to be? Right. Or I haven't seen my attorney. Can you help me find them? Or, just little things. And a lot of prosecutors would say, don't approach the bar. But I made it my business. And to this day, if I'm in court and I'm handling something and a person in the community has a concern or needs some assistance, they know that they can come and ask me a question, and I'm going to help them to the best of my ability. Right.
Now, we might have to do a brief segue, right, to explain Mayberry for our But it was a TV show, Andy Griffith back in the day, and we'll flash to that maybe and then give it
I just don't understand it, Paul.
What?
None of the other guys work for their allowance. I just don't want to work for my allowance.
No work, no allowance.
That's not fair!
Don't raise your voice to me. Now, you get on out of here. I got things to do. What are you doing?
I was holding my breath.
Good lung exercise. But don't get your clothes all dirty.
But no, thank you for sharing that experience and understanding where you're coming from in Orange County, kind of where part of your career began at. And I know it's got to be a big change coming over to Durham, but then even understanding some of the work that you've done. You secured over $2 million of embezzled tax funds, right? You got that back for us. Now, $2 million, that's a lot of money. Talk to us about what you can regarding this situation.
That number is a dated number.
Oh.
So it's actually $3.3 million.
$3.3 million.
That I have been that I have been able to secure for our community.
Wow.
That goes back to infrastructure and public schools. And so in my current role, I prosecute violations of our tax code. And so what that looks like oftentimes are business owners who are embezzling sales and use tax or withholding taxes.
Oh.
And so it's very document heavy, very dense. But I have specialized agents that work at the North Carolina Department of Revenue. Okay. And we partner together to prosecute these cases. So I'm involved from investigation to charge to resolution.
Wow.
And I really appreciate that because I'm able to ensure that we are fair, that we are consistent, and that I'm able to take into consideration everything in mitigation when I'm extending a plea offer. The defense attorneys that I work with know they're not going to get a plea offer from me until they submit to me everything they want me to know about their client. If they want me to know that their client was, when he was 16, his mom left him with his dad and his dad was abusive, I'm going to take that into consideration. If he wants me to know that he serves his community every weekend at the soup kitchen, I want to take that into consideration. You know, people's stories matter.
Right.
And I think that when we can honor that and when people have that engagement in the system, that it increases the trust that we have in the system. But, you know, it's just the right thing to do also.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's a big deal. 3.3 million returned in tax dollars. And just knowing that, you know, our teachers grow without, you know, we got, you know, veterans that's not getting the type of assistance that they need. I think every dime matters. And you've clearly done the work to make sure that people are not getting over on the community.
That's right.
No, we appreciate that.
Yeah, it's an honor to do it.
Now, one of the things that comes up, judicial philosophy, okay? And when I think about your situation, I see some of the work that you've done. You supported some of the governor's, let's say, some of his programs, special towards racial equity. Talk to me a little bit about the governor's task force on racial equity and the role you've been able to play with that.
Yeah, so I want to say back in 2020, it may have been 2019, but definitely 2020 because we transitioned into COVID with it. And a lot of everything was virtual.
Wow.
But I volunteered to serve as staff to the governor's task force for racial equity and the criminal justice system. And I was assigned to the section that dealt with our crimes and the court system. And in that role, I had the opportunity to do some research about decriminalizing poverty.
Oh, wow.
Our statutes and our ordinances across the state, a lot of them really target poor and Black and brown people. So we're talking about failure to return rental property as a criminal charge. Which, you know, oftentimes is predatory. And people don't understand what they're getting themselves into. And then and it's really a contractual obligation, it's civil. But here we have it codified as a criminal offense. And so people find themselves in court when they fall behind on their bill. And there's a civil option, a way to enforce this, but it's faster if they go through the criminal process. And so that was one of the charges that I recommended that we not leave on the books. And the panhandling, sleeping in public, window tint violations. You know, these are offenses that you see Black and brown people and poor people being charged with more often than you see, you know, our white counterparts. And so part of my work was outlining the numbers, making a case for it. And we were making good traction, but then we had a shift in politics and we haven't been able to really get that off the ground. But it was an honor to do the work. And it really highlighted the disparities that exist in our criminal justice system. And it reinforces the importance of having people like me who care about the community, who understand the impacts that these laws have on people and on families, and who wants to be creative within the confines of the law to find conclusions and resolutions that are helpful.
Right. When you were speaking there, it reminded me of what happened after slavery ended. And essentially, vagrancy laws, like those were the rules that were put in place to really get people back on the plantation.
That's it.
And when we think of the 13th Amendment, you were free unless you committed a crime. So it's not surprising that a lot of that stuff is codified. But we appreciate people like you fighting on our behalf to try to get past that. Did you see that? I think it was like a Netflix movie, 13. I think Oprah Winfrey had.
What is it? Was it 13?
I think it was like 13 was the title, but it was about the 13th Amendment.
Oh, I need to go back and watch that now.
Take a look at that. Oprah Winfrey, I think she was behind that publication, but it did a deep dive into that and talked about obviously how the prison population, how it skyrocketed, coming into like the 80s, coming out of the 80s into the early 90s, and how so many people were going to jail.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it was a big deal. It was a big deal. But was informative, and when you spoke on that, it reminded me of that.
Okay.
But no, I appreciate you sharing that. I understand you were working with the governor, but I know that research that you did and that organized racial work for racial equity at the state level. How do we make sure that fairness and dignity aren't just buzzwords, but they're really a reality for everybody in your courtroom?
Yeah, I think it starts with making sure that the people who we elect as judges believe in, racial equity,
Right.
that they see the impact of white supremacy, and that they are thoughtful about how we come to be where we are. And when I say we, perhaps we as a people, but then also individuals.
For sure.
And the impact that systems that were created, just like you were talking about, these systems that were created to keep us down. So I think the first way that comes to mind is that people actually pay attention to these elections of their local judges, because all of this trickles down to our homes. I think another way is to just be involved in the community, to find organizations that are doing good work. There's so much need in our community where it comes to our young people.
Right.
And we think about violence, specifically gun violence.
That's one of the buzzwords. Gun
violence. And I think, mentorship is huge. And I think, if people really want to make a difference in helping younger people understand our history so that they don't repeat it with the bad parts, and also giving them the opportunity to see what they can be, because you don't know what you can be if you've never seen it. So, I think being involved in the community, whatever speaks to you, whether it's in dealing with the environment, whether it's dealing with, career opportunities, just doing something outside of yourself really helps you to make an impact. And if you have this, this racial perspective, if you understand racism, if you understand white supremacy, then everything that you do is guided by that, and it impacts how you show up, and it impacts the outcomes of those around you.
Absolutely. And I don't think by any means you came in, your statement was pointing at some perpetual boogeyman. I think it was more or less stating just kind of just the circumstances, right? But we know that we have overcome, we will continue to overcome, and it's not nothing that's going to hold anybody back.
Absolutely
and
not.
That nobody's just sit here complaining about somebody holding us back.
No.
That's not what's happening here. And I appreciate you telling us about how we can make sure that those aren't buzzwords and that dignity is in your courtroom when you're adjudicating these cases. But we're talking about the role of a judge, specifically Superior Court judge, what you're running for, right? Tell us what you do. For say somebody in my audience that may not know what you would do on a day-to-day. Talk about your role in as a Superior Court judge and what you do.
So Superior Court judges hear very important cases. These cases could be felony criminal cases, which, they have lots of impacts on liberty and constitutional rights and all those things. Then on the civil side, there are any controversy that deals with $25,000 or more.
Okay.
So it could be a contract, could be a landlord-tenant situation, could be a land dispute. Those are the type of things. There are some family type. We have these, we call them the heart balm torts. We had a big case here recently with Brene, and I can't remember the other person's name. Anyway, but that dealt with, you can sue the person who your spouse cheated with. And that's a thing. There's some elements that have to meet, but that could be in Superior Court with a jury trial.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that our administrative hearings, administrative courts for like our state agencies, a lot of them have their rules codified in the administrative code. Whenever those matters are appealed, the first appeal goes to Superior Court. And so I've dealt with those cases in administrative court. And I understand the burden. I understand the process. Some other things that are dealt with are like temporary restraining orders that might deal with a person who has a permit to sell alcohol. And maybe the state agency wants to suspend that. And there's a temporary restraining order. Superior Court judge might hear that. And so all of these things impact everyday life for businesses, for families, and having a judge that knows Superior Court. I've been working at Superior Court for over a decade.
Oh, wow.
And so civil and criminal. And so that is very helpful experience that will make sure that I'm not learning on the job. And I don't want, if I come to Superior Court because I have a matter, I don't want the judge learning on my case. And I think I don't want that for anybody. And so, that's also part of why I'm running.
Right.
But yeah, those are the type of things that happen in Superior Court. You have juries in Superior Court.
Well, no, thank you for explaining that for the audience and me too.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just understanding more about what a Superior Court judge does on a day-to-day. No, that's very informative. When I think about in my mind, I think of the Supreme Court of the United States, right? And those are lifetime appointments.
Yeah.
This you're running for this position. How often would you run if elected?
So the term is 8 years.
8-year terms.
Yeah, it's an 8-year term.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
8-year terms. And then typically the person gets in, because I can understand when you're a judge, not being subject to the political system as much as possible can allow you to be fair, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about running for Supreme Court Justice of the United States. I can judge the case fairly based on the merits of the law, Constitution, et cetera, right? Same thing. So I guess that's why it's an 8-year term versus say a 2 or 4-year term, right? For a Superior Court judge here in Durham. But with this seat being open, it seems like it's the timing just kind of lined up for you. The stars aligned, right?
It did.
So talk to me a little bit about, the preparation, right, for this moment. Like you're running for office. You're about to ask people in Durham to make you their Superior Court justice.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the preparation and mostly what you learned about yourself in this process.
That's a loaded question. You ask these compound questions. And this morning, I helped Duke Law School's trial team, their mock trial team, and I had to get on them about these compound questions. But okay, I'm going to try to answer all the parts of your question. If I don't,
I didn't send it to her.
You might have to repeat a part of it.
Absolutely.
But as far as like my preparation, it's really interesting because I have always felt as though I was going to run for office. I knew that it would be in Durham because when I started in the Durham DA's office, it just felt right. It felt good. It felt like the place where I was supposed to be. I knew I was making a difference, helping people along the way, whether they were defendants or victims or just people that were active in the community that were concerned about what was happening in the courthouse. So there's that.
Right.
Part of the preparation is, serving, being involved in these other groups. I have to say I'm a little disappointed that I have not received the endorsement for 2 of the big groups that I have worked with for over a decade, respectively. But I think that that's important because you get to know the members of the community, especially the ones who are active in the community and what matters to them and how the powers that be, the systems that be, the laws, how they impact them.
Right.
Separate and apart from how I feel the impact of these systems and laws.
Right.
So that's another part of the preparation.
Right.
And then, of course, the work. Being in the DA's office, learning the law, applying the law, standing up in court, making arguments, having trials, working with people, it's so powerful and so humbling to essentially hold hands with a person who is going through the worst time of their life and to be the person that they are relying on.
Right.
And to know that, you're going to do a good job and you're going to do the right thing.
Right.
And helping them to understand what their rights are and how this process is going to play out so that they can be as involved as they want to be and have all the information that they need. So that's a lot of what I did in the DA's office. And then also, my first post at the Durham DA's office was in juvenile delinquency court.
Okay.
And my first trial in juvenile delinquency court was a rape. And from a lawyer perspective, it was a complex case. I had to tender an expert. I had several witnesses that I examined. I had a tough burden that I had to meet beyond a reasonable doubt. And I had a victim who was very skeptical of the court system. And, you know, also understanding and appreciating that this young person is a member of our community and is young. And what can we do to set them up to be successful in the long run? And so it's a lot of mental acrobatics that you're having to do in being compassionate to all of the parties, but being on and putting forward your case. And so that is an experience I will always remember. It was a formative experience for sure. But in the juvenile delinquency courtroom, I worked very closely with the court counselors that are like the juvenile probation officers. And the process is a lot different than what we see in the adult system. Right. And so I got to know these families. I got to know all of our service providers and the way that they wrap the services around the families. And I got to champion these young people and acknowledge them. Like literally, I'm sitting at my table, they're sitting at their table, and look across the table and tell them, I know you're here because of this thing, but you are not this thing. Right. That's the type of prosecutor that I was then and I am now. And so that was some very good preparation. Wow. In 2019, I came over to the Attorney General's office, and that's when I represented the commissions that certify law enforcement and the ABC Commission. Now, I have to be honest and tell you, I didn't know that we had these commissions that certify law enforcement. And it wasn't until I saw the job posting that I was like, this is interesting. I think it would be helpful for me to understand how law enforcement gets to be law enforcement. Right. Because as a prosecutor, they're one of your key witnesses, right? Exactly. But it turned into so much more. It turned into an opportunity to really learn and delve into civil law. And it gave me the opportunity to go before the North Carolina Court of Appeals and give an oral argument about what it means for our officers to have good moral character. Right. And ultimately make good case law about that. And as a lawyer, making case law is a big deal. Yes. It's one of the things we kind of live for. Okay. So that was really, really cool. And so, in short, answer your question, all of my professional experiences, all of my personal experiences have prepared me to be compassionate, to be competent, to be thoughtful, fair, and impartial as I sit on a Superior Court bench. And to make sure that when no matter who the person is, they don't have to be the person that's before the court, but no matter who comes before the court, they know that they are valued, that they are important, who they are matters, and that they got their day in court. That's why I'm running. I really appreciate you sharing that story with us, especially about the case and your stint with the juvenile services. Yeah. I could tell that you've already dealt with tough decisions, and it sounds like it's prepped you like for this upcoming role. Because I'd imagine a Superior Court judge having to make the toughest of decisions. Yeah. And you're dealing with people, and like you said, some of the worst circumstances. Absolutely. Right? And, children to be treated one way, adults are going to be taken care of another way. Yeah. And you've been able to deal with that spectrum. Absolutely. So thank you for being able to share that with the audience. I want to talk about the heart of Durham, and I want to sort of end and brag on some of the things we know about you, because I know that you're at, let's see, what's that? You're a member of Union Baptist Church. Yep, right? I got baptized when I was 5. Baptized when you was 5. So I've been at Union forever. They are home, absolutely home. On this, as we're on the campaign trail, we're missing Sundays. My mom is like, she's a deaconess. Oh, don't get in trouble. At the church. And every Sunday she comes, so-and-so asked about you. Miss Shirley asked about you. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And with an 18-month-old who is not trying to sit still, it's, the joy that he brings all the people as he's and walking around making his rounds, stretching his legs. It's so beautiful
Make
because
yourself comfortable.
yeah, because these are our, this is our church family. So they loved us when we were children,
Right.
and they love him too. And so it's incredible. It's magical, going to Union Baptist.
Right. So at Union Baptist, also a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Yes.
Where did you pledge at, sis?
So Hillsboro chapter. So I get my Omega.
Okay.
Yep. And this year is going to be my 10-year anniversary.
Congratulations. Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. So coming up on 10 years with your sorority, do you guys got anything big you want to let the audience know about coming up with the sorority rise?
We're still, we got a few months. We're still in the planning.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to get together.
Okay.
Absolutely going to get together and celebrate.
Well, let me know. I'll make sure the audience can tap in.
Okay.
Anything we can support, we love to support our guests.
Definitely. Would love that.
And we appreciate you staying in tune and servicing the community there with your sorority. You've been able to talk to a lot about your preparation. You've been able to talk about, the why now. You've answered that question for me. And I appreciate you doing that today. Where can people find more information about your campaign before March 3rd?
Yeah. So, early voting starts February 12th.
Right.
And people are mailing in their absentee ballots now.
Oh,
so, yeah. Okay. So, my website is Ameisha, AMESHIA, the word FOR, judge.com. And so if you go to AmeishaforJudge.com, there's opportunities for you to donate. We need your financial support.
We need that.
There are also opportunities for you to volunteer. You can canvass, you can make calls, you can write thank you notes. We have a lot of things that you can do to support the campaign, and it would mean the world to me, if you would.
Right. Because I think what's most important is that you get Durham's endorsement.
That's right.
Right. And they're gonna let you know on March the 3rd who they're gonna endorse.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like she stated, early voting is started. It's very important for us to get more involved on the local level. We have someone here that's from the Bull City. She's born and raised here in Durham. She has been involved with every part of the legal system that I can think of. I can't think of anything else to be involved with. Children, adults, domestic violence, tax crime. She's been able to work with all of that, and she wants your vote. So, Ameisha, thank you so much for coming out. Whiskey Six and audience, thank you as well. Whiskey Six and Politics audience, thank you as well. Thank you for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
Whiskey, Sticks, and Politics with Rashad Sullivan.